This will be my third time making the video. Crazy. I don't know why. All right, let me just check and make sure it's still recording. It is recording. All right, third time's the charm. I made the video, it wasn't recording. I don't know why. Okay, and I left some of my notes up there because I was not about to write it again. Here's the formula again, right? But it's tangent instead of sine and cosine. I will talk about this in a second, not yet. First thing, find your D. D is on 0. Put a 0 in. Okay, all the centers are on 0, right? These are your centers. Okay, 2 above and 2 below are these points, so your A is 2. Now, is it positive or negative? Tangents go from right to left, right? They take this pattern, so those are positive. If they were backwards, then we know it would be negative, right? But they're not. All right, next. Hang on, I'm checking that it's okay. It's still recording. Good. All right, next we're going to find our period. Period is super easy. Go from one asymptote to the next. So this one's at 0. This one's at pi over 2. That means the period is pi over 2. One full graph fits in between an asymptote, right? So the period is pi over 2. Wait, let me write that over here. Equals pi over 2. And we know that tangent periods are normally pi. So pi over b equals the period, which is pi over 2. B is 2. Whereas in the cosine and sine ones, we did 2 pi over b equals the period. It's pi over b. So b is 2. Now the shift. Always, 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 tangents should have centers on the y-axis, right? And this one does not. It does not have a center on the y-axis. So that means there's a shift. So let me say that again. If tangent doesn't go through the y-axis anywhere, wherever the D is, right? It could be down there. If it doesn't go through there, it has a shift, and it has it either frontwards or backwards. I usually just go to the right. This shifted. The first center was at pi over 4, so our C value is negative pi over 4. And you're going to take all those numbers and put them right in there. I think they did it down here. There we go. If you want to distribute out the 2, right, you'll get that one. Okay, our last one. And I wrote a little note up here for you that you'll want. I'll talk about it at the end. Okay, same thing, D. The whole thing is shifted. All my centers are at 1. So it's positive 1. A value, it goes up above 1 and below 1, right, from the center. So that's a 1. Now, we're going to do this in tangent first. If this was a tan graph, because we just did a tangent up there, these are backwards, right? They should not be going left to right. So this is a negative 1 when we're doing a tangent graph. This is for the tangent. The period, from 2 asymptotes. This asymptote is at 1. This one's at 3. That's a distance of 2. Okay, so the period is 2. And remember, pi over b equals 2 over 1. And we'll cross multiply. 2b equals pi, which means pi is pi over 2, or b is pi over 2. Okay, the shift. Okay, if we're dealing with a tangent, because you want to write this in tangent, the center should be on the y-axis. It is. Hallelujah. It is. So that means it did not get shifted. It's a 0 shift. All of those numbers went right here. A, B, C, and D. Okay. Now, if we're doing the cotangent one, right? Let me put cotangent here. A is still going to be 1. D is still going to be 1. B is still going to be pi over 2. Okay, but the shift, cotangent, look at my orange highlighter, center should not be on the y-axis. It is. It is. So it should not be there. We cannot have it there, right? So that means we've got to shift it to this way, because it used to be on one of these. It used to be on the asymptote, but it got shifted to the 0. It should not be there. So that's a 1 or a negative 1. If I shift it to the right one, that would be a negative 1. So you're going to take all of these numbers and plug them in here. So you need to somehow make a mental note that tangent centers are always on the y-axis. Cotangent centers are not on the y-axis. So if they end up falling on there for the cotangent, they have gotten shifted, right? If you're writing a tangent graph and the center is not on the y-axis, it got shifted. And it just got shifted to the next asymptote. You only just look to the next point over. All right. I successfully recorded this one, so that's good. I hope this helps. Bye-bye.